Hello students, this time we are going to start new topic, that is interface Python with MySQL. Actually previously we have worked with MySQL and we have learned so many SQL commands, how to create database, how to create table, how to fetch data from that table, insert record, update record, and also we have performed so many queries using select statement, and finally we have done with some joining commands where two or more tables are joined with one another, and then from all those tables we have fetched some information. Okay, we have learned these things. Now we are going to learn we are going to learn interface Python with MySQL. It means that previously we have used directly commands, the commands which we used, we have directly put those commands on MySQL environment. But here this time we are going to use those commands from Python language. Here we will give SQL commands. We will work with MySQL but from Python language. Using Python coding, we will operate or we will manage databases or tables or those things or SQL commands. See how we can do all these things. This is for class 12, chapter 15, unit 3. Okay. See, first we have to know about these things. What are those things? When you design real life applications means when we develop projects, when we work with projects, real life projects, then we are bound to or encounter situation wherein we need to manipulate data stored in a database through an application designed by you. It means that to store data permanently, we can develop projects or softwares or applications without using databases, without storing any data. This can be happen, but what happens each time when you run the application, it asks you some data, and it will store those data in temporary memory, that is RAM memory, and whenever you exit those applications, those softwares, what will happen? All the data which you have entered will be erased, will be destroyed. So to store those data, and next time when you open the application, those data must be saved and can be retrieved easily. For those purpose, database there should be some facility, there should be some features where we can store those data somewhere, and whenever we need, we can retrieve those data, we can update those data, we can search some information from those data. Okay, these are only possible when we implement some database software or database application with our Python programming language. So here it is saying that in real life applications we must need to use databases, and these databases are used to store data or the files or the information. Okay, so in order to connect to a database from within Python, we need a library that provides connectivity functionality. So suppose what is saying here, suppose we want to do mathematical works or mathematical calculation in Python programming language, then what we need? We need math library, so that we can call functions from math library to do a square root, to do some other type of calculations. Similarly, to work with databases, suppose MySQL databases, then we also need some library that is known as data connect to database library or connector library or MySQL library is there. Okay, those library help us to establish a connection with the database, and then some functions are there which help us to retrieve data or help us to execute SQL queries from Python environment. Okay, so we need Python library. Now, before we go to do some work or connectivity with the Python language, first we have to install MySQL Python connector in operating system. Okay, using operating system or using Python interpreter, we have to install MySQL Python connector. Okay, so then only we can do or we can connect with MySQL with Python language. Okay, so see the process. What is the process to install MySQL Python connector? Here, before installing, we need these things, prerequisites. Okay, before installing, we need first to install MySQL Python connector. These must be ensured, these must be available. First, Python is installed on your computer. You are connected to the internet. First, Python is installed. Okay, any version, Python 3 point something version must be installed, either a standard version or Anaconda version. Okay, any version must be installed in your computer, and the computer must be connected with the internet. Then only it will install MySQL Python connector. Okay, Python is on systems path. It must also be ensured that the Python, where the Python software is installed in your computer, either in C drive or in D drive, this path must be saved in systems path. Okay, so if you want to check it, see here to verify that it is on systems path, see the properties of computer icon. Okay, you will find computer icon on your desktop. Just right click and select the properties there. Then you will find a box, a dialog box will come on the screen, or a window will come on the screen. Then you will open advanced system settings option, and then again when you click advanced setting option, it will open a dialog box. Okay, and then you will find some tabs. You have to click on advanced tab, and then a button will be there, environment variables. This button is to be clicked, and you can see that some information or the path where the Python language is installed is also saved in your system path or not. Okay, so if you if there is if this path is not there, then installation may have problem. Okay, so if there is no path information in this environment variables file, then what you have to do, how to make or how to add this path in systems path, you have to reinstall the Python software. First you remove the software, Python software, then again reinstall it. And while installing, somewhere it will ask you to add Python. There is check mark or tick mark is there. You have to click on those tick mark, and then it will install in your those Python will be added in your systems path. Okay, only this is the person. Now to do all those things, you need administrative privileges. Okay, administrative privileges. Administrative privileges means you must have admin of the computer, okay, or the account which you are using in the operating system. Okay, so admin privileges must be there. These are the requisition. Now next, installing MySQL connector on a standard Python installation using PIP. MySQL connector Python is available on pip.org. This is a website. You can go to this website and you will find pip.org, and here you will find all the installation libraries there. where from it will be downloaded, installed on your computer through pip command. But we need not to go to this website. We have to give some commands, pip command. Those command is known as pip command. We have to give this pip command where on command prompt. Okay, what is the command prompt? You better know that this is C:\\, and greater than this type of command prompt will be known as operating system command prompt, and on those command prompt you have to use this pip command. Which command? Okay, and must before doing this or before putting this command, you must have connected with the internet. Okay, internet must be connected with your computer, then only it will work. So to install MySQL Connector Python, you have to write this command on the command prompt pip install MySQL Connector -Python and press enter key. Then it will install all the related files in your computer. Okay, we will see it practically. Let's see how can be done. It can be done. Now we are going to install Python in our computer system. We are using Python 3.6.5 version. Just double click on Python installation file, then it will show you this page. Install now. Here we have to click on install now, but before clicking on install now, we have to tick check mark here, add Python 3.6 to Python path. This why we are doing this, to add Python address or Python path to our system's path. Just tick here and then click install now option. Now to install MySQL connector to work with Python with database, MySQL databases, see the procedure. First we have to open command prompt in operating system, in Windows operating system, command prompt. Okay, the simplest way to start command prompt, just go to start button, okay, and then type cmd. It will show you command prompt. Just press enter key and here you will see the command prompt will come. Okay, just type the command here. Now before typing the command pip command, you must ensure that computer must be connected with the internet. Okay, then after this command will work. What is the command? Pip space install space MySQL -connector -Python and then press enter key. It will install everything related to MySQL connector in your computer. See, one by one it is collecting MySQL connector Python. Okay, and these all things are going to be installed from pip.org. See, it is going to install. Now it is saying successfully installed MySQL connector Python 8. Similarly, you can also install MySQL connector for Anaconda Python installation also. Procedure is like this. Just first the Anaconda installation or Anaconda must be installed in your computer, and then you have to open start Anaconda prompt. Okay, not the command prompt of operating system, Windows operating system, but here a special command prompt is already given with Anaconda distribution, that is known as Anaconda Prompt. Just open those Anaconda prompt and then type this command. It must be ensured that that Anaconda command prompt must be started as administrator, run as administrator. This can be done where the Anaconda prompt will be displayed. Just right click there and select from the menu run as administrator. Okay, then it will start as administrator, and whatever the command or installation is to be given, it will be installed permanently in your computer. Okay, so on the Anaconda prompt you have to type this command. and then press enter key. It will install. It will take time and it will install automatically. Okay, we will show you how this can be done. Now see how to install Python MySQL connector use in Anaconda distribution. Okay, see, first we have to open Anaconda Prompt. Just we have to click start button. Here you will find Anaconda, and next you will find Anaconda Prompt. Just right click on that Anaconda Prompt, and then you will find run as administrator option. Just click on that option, and then it will ask you to click yes, and then it will start Anaconda Prompt. Okay, like this. Here you have to give the command like this: cond Anaconda, okay, install -c Anaconda, and then MySQL -connector -c. This command you have to give, and then you have to press enter. And you must ensure that internet must be connected during running these commands with your computer. Internet must be connected. It will take some time. Have patience. It is collecting packages from ip.org website, and then it will download in your computer. Now, connecting to MySQL from Python. We have already installed MySQL connector in our computer, downloaded in our computer, and then we are going to write programs in Python environment, and then we use library of MySQL connector library, and then we will connect MySQL with Python and then do the other things. Okay, and we will fetch data from the MySQL through Python language environment. See how this can be done. This can be done with the help of MySQL connector library to connect to MySQL databases from within Python environment. So many steps are there. Okay, total 7 steps are there. Steps for creating database connectivity applications. There are mainly 7 steps that must be followed in order to create a database connectivity application. First we have to start Python. Whatever the Python we have installed in our computer, we have to start that Python, either standard Python software or the Anaconda software we have to start, and then we have to use import command, import the package required for database programming. Okay, using import command, we have to import database package library in our program. Then we have to write such command, that command will open connection to the database. Okay, then we have to create cursor instance. Cursor, what is the cursor? Cursor actually storage location where whatever we fetch or whatever we retrieve from SQL environment to Python environment, those data or the records is stored in cursor environment. Okay, so we have to create cursor instance, then we have to execute the query. Okay, query is SQL query, either it is update query, insert query, create table query, select query, whatever the query is there, we have to execute those query, and then the information or the data whatever we retrieve will be stored in the cursor. Okay. Then a result set we have to create, and then from those result set we have to extract data, and then using print statement we have to display those data on the desktop of the computer. Okay, then finally we have to clean up the environment. We have to close the connection. Okay, see, one by one we are going to learn these steps. The first step is start the Python in software. See, it is very simple. Just click on Python, start Python editor, where you can create your Python script. For example, spider ID or whatever you feel comfortable. We are using spider ID. This comes with Anaconda distribution. Okay, and then in next step we have to import MySQL connector package. It is nothing, just one command we have to give, one line command, and that command is import MySQL connector. Okay, this command, or we can use this command also, import mysql.connector as SQL. Okay, actually what happened, whatever the functions or the methods we will use in our computer, in our program, okay, in our program, then each and every function will be preceded with this command if we use the first type of command, first type of import command. If we use second method of import command by adding as SQL, then we have to write only SQL in front of each and every function from the MySQL connector library. Okay, so second option will be beneficial. If we use second import statement, this will be beneficial. Next, open a connection to MySQL databases. It is very simple. Just we have to write this sql.connect command, sql.connect command, and this command needed 4 options. First is host, then user, then password, then database. Okay, so what is this connection? A database connection object controls the connection with the database. It represents a unique session with a database connected from within a script or program. Okay, a session is created with the program. To establish connection, MySQL database using connect function is there in MySQL connector package. So the syntax is like this. We have to write my connection, an object is to be created, then equals to sign, then this command, and 4 options we have to give. And what are those 4 options, 4 values we have to give? Let's see. Okay, so the 4 parameters, what are those? The connect function MySQL connector establishes to MySQL database requires 4 parameters, which are these things. Okay, which are username, then password, then host, and database. First we have to give host, then username, then password, then database. Okay, so what is the user? User is the username of the MySQL, and it is generally root. It is generally root. Okay, and then password. Password while installing MySQL in our computer, we have to give one password, and those password may be anything. You have to know your computer that which password is, or while doing practical you can ask your computer teacher that what is the password of MySQL you have to give. So generally the password will be like this, 1 2 3 4. Okay, and host, the database server host name we have to give. Okay, host name means where the database is stored. Okay, sometimes the database may be remotely stored on somewhere in the computer connected with the internet, so those IP address we have to give. Or if the database is stored locally in the same computer where the program is to be written, then we have to write localhost. Okay, in place of host name we have to write localhost. And the database name in SQL, we have to every time we have to open database to work with tables, then those database is to be used, and generally the database name is Sql. Okay, during learning we use Sql. So the complete command is like this. Okay, then import MySQL connector we have to give first line command must be given as import mysql.connector as SQL. Okay, then my connection object is to be created, then we have to write this command, sql.connect, then host equals to localhost, user equals to root, and then password, see the spelling of the password, PASSWT only, not the WRD. Password equals to, within single quotation we have to write password 1 2 3 4, and the database is equals to Sql. Okay, this many command we have to give. Okay, all the 4 options we have to give, and then this command when executed it will establish a connection with the database, and also at the same time it will open the database. Okay, the database, whatever the database is given, it will open those database. Okay, like this. So this command is to be given. Next step is to be create to cursor instance. Now what is cursor? Understand, a database cursor is a special control structure. Control structure is this. Okay, in say for example list, you have you know that what is list, what is dictionary, what is tuple. Okay, these things contain some data. In the similar way, cursor is also a container where records or rows of tables are stored. Okay, so it is a control structure that facilitates the row by row processing of records in a result set, and the collection is known as, the cursor collection is known as result set. So the set of records retrieved as per query, the set of records is known as result set. In this step, you create an instance of cursor by using cursor function. So cursor equals to mycon equals to cursor. Just only this command you have to give. Cursor equals to mycon dot cursor. Only one line command you have to give to create a cursor. So now we have created a cursor object using the same connection object, that is mycon. Now next, fifth step is execute the SQL query, and this can be done with the help of execute function, which is available with the SQL connector library. So this command is to be, this function is to be executed, and the process to execute is to, from cursor we have to use cursor object to execute a query. So cursor dot execute, and within single quotation mark we have to give the command within brackets. Select star from student, select something like this. Okay, now when this only one line command we have to give here for execute SQL query. Now this code will execute the given SQL query and store the retrieved records result set in the cursor object. So when this statement will be executed, the records whichever is selected from the table student, those records will be collected in a cursor. Now this cursor is known as result set because it contains a set of records. Okay, and works as a control structure, which you can use then in your program and script. Now this cursor contains all the results, all the records. Now one by one we can retrieve this, we can select, we can print these these values on the screen. The result set, and what is this result set? What is the meaning of result set? See, the result set refers to a logical set of records that are fetched from the database by executing SQL query and made available to the application program. Okay, so in Python program it will be made available. Once the result of a query is available in the form of result set is stored in a cursor object, you can extract data from the result set using any of the following fetch function. Okay, so fetch function is given to retrieve rows one by one or all rows at a time. Okay, so many different types of functions are there, fetch functions, using which we can extract data from cursor or from result set. See, what are those functions? There are total four fetch functions, sorry, three fetch function and one row count function. First is fetchall, then fetchone, then fetchmany, and then row count. Four functions are there which works with result set. So fetchall function return all the records retrieved as per query in the tuple form. Okay, so fetchall function, it will give you all the records, whatever the records is available in the result set, it will give you all the records as per the query in tuple form. See, in tuple form it will give you, and the command is to be written like this: cursor dot fetch all. You have to write command like this: cursor dot fetch all. Now next one is fetch one. Now return one record from the result set as a tuple or a list at a time. Only one record from result set, it will give you one record. Understood? Actually what happened, first you have to make connections with the database, MySQL database, then you have to execute, you have to make connection, then you have to create a cursor, then you have to execute the query, and this query must be executed with the help of cursor, and then whatever the data is retrieved from the SQL or SQL, and then all the records will be stored in a result set with the name cursor, and then this function is to be those records is stored in the result set. Okay, whatever or however you want to see those results, those records, you can see. You can use fetchall function, you can use fetchone function. Fetchone function will give you one record at a time. Okay, and next time you execute fetchone function again, then it will give you next record, next record, like this. If there is no records available at the end, then it will give you none. It will give you none. And execution, how to execute this fetchone function, just you have to write cursor.fetchone. And then fetchmany function is there. Fetchmany function, it accepts a number. You have to provide a number which tells that how many records it will be retrieved. Okay, returns a tuple where each record itself is a tuple. It is a nested tuple. It will give you nested tuple within tuple, and each tuple will contain one complete record. Okay, so if there is no more record, the empty tuple will be given. So cursor.fetchmany is to be given command, and within bracket you have to write number 2, 3, 4, what how many numbers of records you want to retrieve at a time, then you can give those numbers. So 3 fetch function is there: fetchall, fetchone, and fetchmany. And then one more function is there, that is row count. Okay, the number of records you fetched, it will count how many number of records you have fetched. So it will return the number of rows retrieved from the cursor so far. So you have to, if you want to use this row count function, then you have to write cursor.rowCount without any bracket. No bracket is required. See, we have written one program here. How this program will be displayed like this. See. Okay. So use of interface Python with MySQL, and we are using fetchall function. First we have to import mysql.connector as SQL, and then one connection is to be created using my connection equals to sql.connect. So 4 different options we have to provide: host, username, username, password, then database, and within single quotation we have to provide all the values. Okay, if the single command becomes large enough to fit in one line, then you can divide the complete command in more than one lines by giving backslash at each of the sections. Just to give backslash, and then you can write the same command in multiple lines. Now to check that connection is established successfully or not, so you can use like this: mycon.isConnected function is there, equals to false, then this error message will be displayed: error, connection to MySQL failed, and it will exit the program and no further commands will be executed. Now when connection is successful, then it won't be false, and it will skip this part and goes to this to execute this statement. Now next statement, first we have import the connection, and then we have established a connection, and then the cursor is to be created: mycon.cursor. this only one command is to be given. Then we have to execute the query using this same cursor.execute. Now command is given: select a star from a student, then data equals to cursor.fetchall. We are here retrieving all the records, thus we are using fetchall function. Then what happened, all the records, whatever query is retrieved, then those records will be stored in this data. Now data is known as, here the variable or the object data is known as result set here. So this is the result set. Now if you want to count, then you can count how many records we have retrieved, then cursor.row count, then it will using print statement you can display. Okay, and then total records will be displayed here. Now finally we have closed the connection using mycon.close. Now see the output, what output will come here. Total 4 records are there, and roll number and name is there only. 1 Rohan, 2 Zaya, 3 Tina, and 4 Diksha. In each row is a form of tuple, and this tuple is stored as a list. All the tuples, individual tuples, are stored as a list. So a list contains rows in tuple form. So 4 records are there. So fetchall function we have used. Now next program we are using fetchmany function. Okay, here same program is there, only we have written in place of fetchall we have written fetchmany function. Okay, in place of fetchall we have written fetchmany, and we have given that only 2 records is to be read. Okay, so 2 records, and count will be given 2. And same many commands, then output see here only 2 records is displayed in tuple form and in a list form. Okay, so 2 records is displayed. Next time we are using fetchone method. Fetchone method is more suitable if you want to display records one by one. See here how to be displayed here, fetchone function. Now same above commands must be same. Okay, connection is to be established, import from command is to be given. Okay, if you want to check connection is established or not, then you have to give this type of command, and then cursor you have to create, then you have to execute a query, and then you can print. Fetchone function will retrieve 1 record at a time, and you can format how you want to display those records one by one. You can format, you can display those records in a different way like this. So data 0, data 1, it will give you like a list. Okay, the data is retrieved as a list. Okay, so 0, 1, it will give the first record, it will give you second record, like this it will display. Okay, so fetchone, using fetchone and using while loop we have accessed each and every record and displayed in a tabular format. Okay, so counts records will be displayed. See, the output will be displayed in more decorative manner, more formatted form using fetchone function. So you can use fetchone function to display the records in a tabular format or more formatted manner. Okay, now last step is clean up the environment. We have already cleaned up the environment in each and every program. Just we have to give mycon.close, means whatever the connection we have created, we have to use close function. This close function will automatically close the connections and clean the result sets every environment. After you are through all the processing, in this final step you need to close the connection established. Okay, only this command you have to give, then environment will be cleaned up automatically. Performing insert and update queries. Insert and update queries. Previously we have used only select queries and retrieved data or the records from those underlying data tables. Now we are performing insert and update. Execute them. There is no any special method or no any special functions to execute insert and update commands. These are very much similar to whatever we have used previously with the select statement. Execute them just the way you have executed select queries earlier. See, since insert and update are SQL commands, you can execute them just the way you have executed select queries earlier. That is, store the query in a string as a simple query and execute it using cursor.execute function. Okay, there is no special method. This is just the similar way whatever we have previously used. But one important thing we must ensure with insert and update query, that we must use commit command we have to use, or commit function we have to use after performing insert or update command. Okay, this is done to reflect the change in the database physically. Actually, these are the DDL commands, DDL, data definition language commands, and it makes some changes in the tables. So commit command or commit function is used. When it is used, it will store the data. Whatever the changes is done is permanently modified, permanently stored. Okay, for that purpose, commit statement is to be given after each and every insert and update command. Let's see how we can do. See that we are performing insert statement, and this is the function, this is the command. Just the same function or same command is to be given. Import we have to give, then connection is to be established as we have done earlier. All the 4 options we have to provide. We can check if connection is established or not. Then we have to make a cursor. In the same process, just mycon.cursor function is used to create a cursor. Then statement, we have stored the statement in a string data, in string type. Just within double quotation mark we have used insert into student values 5 comma Aslan. Okay, roll number 5 and the name of the student is Aslan. Okay, these values is to be stored in a student table. So this statement is stored in a string, and then we have used cursor.execute statement. Here we are not going to create any result set, because these very command, insert command, is used to store records in the database, and it does not retrieve any record or any data from the table. So result set is not to be created. In every execute command we have used earlier data variable or data result set to store the records retrieved from the select statement. So this time we are using insert statement, so we need not to create any result set, only we have to execute the statement. Just directly we have to write cursor.execute, then whatever the statement is there we have to put within bracket. Okay, if we don't want to create any string, then we can directly use these commands within the brackets, within double quote. These commands can be given within brackets directly, it will execute as well. And then finally we have to write this command mycon.commit. This function is to be executed after each and every insert update command. It makes the changes permanently. Now print statement can be used to display that new record inserted successfully, and then finally we have to close the connection. Then whenever this function is executed, this program will execute, it will display you output new record inserted successfully. Now next we are going to use update statement. Update statement is, we know that update statement is used to make some changes in a particular data. Okay, so same program is there. Okay, the previous all the commands will be same. Import function is there, import command is there, connection is to be established, all the 4 options is to be given, and then if we want to check that whether connection is established or not, we can check like this. And then again we have to use the cursor command. Cursor we have created, and then statements we have given that update student, set name equals to Aslam, not the Aslan, where roll number equals to 5. For roll number 5 we have changed the name Aslam. We are going to change the name Aslam. Then cursor.execute statement, and then commit statement is given. Okay, then a record updated successfully message will be displayed. So record, the output will be displayed record updated successfully. Understood? In the similar way we can use the delete command also. In the same way, same manner, You can also run delete query, but do not forget to commit after running the query. So insert, update and delete, these three commands is to be given, then we have to use commit function. Okay, so the changes is made permanently. Now this we have learned so many things. We have learned what are the steps. First we have learned that how to install Python, how to install the libraries. Okay, internet connection is must there, and what is the command we have learned through command prompt, through Anaconda prompt. And then we know that what are the 7 steps is to be established or is to be followed to make a connection or make a program to work with MySQL through Python programming language. So all the steps we have learned. Now this time some exercises we are going to give you. Do these exercises to evaluate yourself that you have understood the topic well or not. So these are the exercises we have given you. Do these exercises and thank you.